We are now less than 1 week away from the trade deadline, and it's safe to say the Blue Jays will be buyers. But what kind? Will they be in the sweepstakes for big name guys like Cody Bellinger or the beloved Marcus Stroman, or will they lean more on the tier 2 side of players? Well, in this video, you're about to find out all the latest regarding the Blue Jays trade drama, so sit back and relax. To start off, let's go over what the Jays need, and in my opinion, there are 2 areas they must add in. The first being a second baseman, preferably one that can hit lefties well. Because so far this season for the Jays, Biggio and Espinal are both lacking against lefties. And when there's a lefty on the mound, Merrifield more often than not will be in the outfield, giving Espinal the job at second. That's why if they're able to find a second baseman that can hit lefties well, it would be a good add. Also, the Jays find themselves in last place for defensive runs saved in the entire MLB at second base. So with both of these pieces of info in mind, it's no wonder they should add here. And there are at least 3 players' names that should jump out to the Jays at the deadline because they won't cost all too much. The first one being Paul DeJong, who is slashing just .234 with a .720 OPS. Pretty lackluster, right? But when you take a look at his splits versus righties and lefties, we can start to uncover that this dude mashes lefties. In 2023, he has hit .274 with an .846 OPS and could cost bare bones since the Cardinals are planning on selling. The next guy I think the Jays should look into is Jansen Profar. Another guy who has underwhelming overall statistics but becomes much more likable when you look at his splits. In 2023, he's hitting just .219 versus righties, while against lefties, his average goes all the way up to .290 and his slugging jumps around 150 points. Another thing that makes him intriguing is his ability to hit from both sides of the plate, a trait the Jays have not had in a player in quite a long time. And finally, we have Tim Anderson, aka the guy who has the worst slash line in the entire MLB. But as you can guess from the other 2 guys included in this list, he hits lefties pretty well. So far this season, Anderson is hitting just .210 versus righties, while against lefties, that average bumps all the way up to .338. He may cost the Jays a little bit more than the other guys on this list solely based off of his name, but he's another one to keep an eye on. Because not only does he hit lefties well, he also has a great track record, having hit .318 with an .820 OPS over the past 4 seasons. He can also steal bags with already 10 this year, and has started to hit the ball better in the past 14 days where he's hit .366 during this span. As you can tell by the guys I've mentioned, I don't think the Jays will acquire a huge impact bat, but honestly they don't need to, because the truth is, second base has been so lackluster for the Jays that even just getting one of these 3 guys could be a huge unnoticed boost for the team. Now moving on to the pitching side, the Jays have already started to add here with the addition of Yenesis Cabrera, who looks to be an important piece of the puzzle going forward, but I still think there's at least one more guy the Jays can rely on, preferably a swingman type. Perhaps Drew Smyly or Michael Lorenzen. These 2 guys are both able to go long innings, which is something the Jays lack in their bullpen. This also gives more of security for the starting rotation because if injuries do occur or underperformances, then one of these guys can fill in and have a decent outing. Another guy who could be of interest for the Jays is Kyle Finnegan. He's not a long innings guy but has a consistent track record and becomes a free agent in 2026. He also shouldn't cost the Jays all that much. Now looking outside the bullpen, there is some hope for the Jays to go out and add a bona fide starter, and nothing is more appealing to the fans than Marcus Stroman, a player who embraced Canada unlike any other American-born player and is having a very successful season for the Chicago Cubs. He would be a name that everyone would welcome back to Toronto, but the question is, would the Jays be able to afford him? In the farm, they do have Ricky Tiedemann, Aurelvis Martinez, Addison Barger, and Brandon Barriera, among others, who put together in some way would probably get the job done. But if the Jays were to lose Stroman after this season, it would be a big loss, because in order to acquire him, they would have to completely drain their farm. That's why I think the Jays front office may be a little bit skeptical to bring Stroh back, and could be the reason why a reunion doesn't happen in the next week. Of course, there is always the appeal for your team to go out and get a big name player at the deadline, and being contenders like the Blue Jays are, you kind of expect it. But I think we'll see more of the same from 2022 when the club acquired the likes of Whit Merrifield, Zach Pop, and Anthony Bass. It was by no means sexy, but these players helped tremendously down the stretch, so look for the Jays to add in similar ways in 2023. But who knows with this front office? Maybe they're already in the works for a blockbuster, we just have to wait and see. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed a little breakdown of what is to come later this week for the Jays. Make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think the Jays should do at this deadline. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.